17 years in Venezuela and 13 years in China, like, yes, these 13 years that I lived in China were like very transformative, you know, like from 20s till 30s, like many experiences, doing the university, starting like an entrepreneurial journey there. It's an
Yeah, it
experience
really
that I will
grows you
never
up.
change. Yeah.
It really grows you up because the fact, I mean, you 17, you're still a kid. Who are you at 17?
Yeah,
You're not a full grown responsible adult, but then you kind of being thrown into the cold water. Yes, so you're going from being a kid to living on a completely different continent, adapting to a lot of new challenges at the same time. And we both know what makes you stronger and better isn't comfort; it's
Yeah.
challenges.
Right.
How are you doing?
Good, man. It's good to be here.
Is it your first one? Is it your first podcast? Have you done any ones before in the past?
I have done one in the past, long time ago. It was also, over video. So this is like the first official on-camera podcast.
Official
Yeah.
on-camera podcast. I'm not a big podcaster, nothing. I just started because I had probably you as well, a phase where I was listening to a lot of podcasts. I was consuming so much information, the usual fitness and health podcasts, nutrition podcasts, and then at some point
We've all been there.
You've been there. We've all been there. And then at some point, I just thought, instead of consuming nonstop, I think I would also enjoy the process of talking to the person itself. So I don't instead of listening to the podcast, I thought, why not talk to the people, and then I get the same value because I also have the conversation, but I also create something of value, and then I can publicize it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's how it started.
You absorb and you then digest, right? With
Exactly.
the creation process. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because you also do the creation process, and when you just listen to the podcast, you only absorb, you only consume. You don't get the chance to ask the questions directly, and here you do get the chance to ask the questions directly. And other than that, it's just so interesting talking to people, because people are very interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
well, thank you for having me, man.
Of course.
Very excited about this.
of course, look, you told me you've been to China, you've done all sorts of things. So I just want to dive a little into whatever you've been up to.
Yeah. So sounds great. Yeah.
So who are you? What's your name? Is it Angelo or Angel?
Yeah. So
And where are you from? And what are you doing? And just give a brief intro
perfect
for the beginning.
Yeah, like a short intro, basically.
And then from there we just continue.
My name is Angel. I was born and raised in Venezuela, and when I was 17, I moved on to China. I moved to Beijing, China, initially to learn Mandarin.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed it, and I decided to stay. Then I did my university there. I studied international economics and trade in Beijing, and I was working as a fitness coach part-time. And when I graduated, I decided to pursue my coaching career, and that was 13 years ago. So I went on to study different fitness and nutrition certifications, and eventually I even opened a studio in Beijing, China. And 1 year ago, I moved to Berlin.
Right.
I was studying an MBA program. I just finished the courses. Now I'm writing my thesis. And I am working as a coach here as well. Fitness, nutrition, and also, trying to stay active in competitions whenever I can. And
Shout out to Hyrox Berlin this weekend.
Yes.
There you go.
Such an amazing experience.
Okay, we can talk about that later, but back to the story. So that's a crazy story because first of all, you've been moving around a lot, and I've been thinking, it's one thing if someone tells you, I was born in Berlin, for example, and then I moved to, I don't know, Munich, some other city in Berlin. That's one thing. Next level is I'm moving within Europe. Completely different thing is it's between continents. So now the question immediately arises, how and why did you decide, first of all, to leave Venezuela? It's with 17. So it's
That's
not
right.
that you already had a career and then for some reason, there was you got a job offer or something in China. But with 17, I don't know, have you finished school already?
Yes, I had finished high school.
You just finished high school and then you go into Beijing of all places.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so what's the...
Yeah, so the story
What's the story?
is very simple. So basically when I graduated from high school, I was planning to take a year gap before I would start university, and the plan was to learn a new language. So I had the opportunity to live in the U.S. when I was 13. I did eighth grade in Orlando,
Okay.
and my English was not the best, but it was alright for conversation. So talking with my parents, we decided why not to learn another language, and you will still be using English as a tool to learn.
sure.
So then you're gonna improve your English as well.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of countries on the list, but one of them was China, and it was kind of like the most, distant at the same time, exotic. I didn't know
Yes.
much about China. All I knew was, the little influence it had on me through martial arts and wushu and all this like
So you did martial arts when
relevant.
you were younger?
Yes, I did.
Cool.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. Although these are not Chinese martial arts, but I was always into martial arts, and I liked all of this philosophy. And
I did kung fu for some years, and my trainer was also spending time in China and learned Chinese and maybe lived there for some time. So I understand the appeal there.
yes, so that was kind of like me being 17-year-old. My idea of going to China is okay. Maybe I can learn some kung fu. Perhaps go and visit the Shaolin Temple, which I eventually end up doing.
You did?
It was amazing.
Cool.
But yeah, that was kind of like my first interest.
Okay.
And
And what was the interest behind learning a language? Was it just a hobby, like just for the sake of it? Because my wife Yasmin, she's really into languages. It's you can always ask why, but at the end, you're attracted to some fields and you're less attracted to other fields. Some are, we talked
Right.
about it. Some are more into technology, others are more into sports. So was it just an interest for languages, or was there a deeper reason, like a more instrumental reason, like to learn a language because that gives you more opportunities in life? Or
yeah,
what was
basically
the idea
it's
behind
just
it?
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because of so people in like back home, when you graduate from high school, then you tend to go abroad to learn a language.
Right.
To most
You mean
people
in
go
Venezuela?
in Venezuela.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah, most people they go where those who can, who have the opportunity,
Yeah.
they go to learn English. Most of the cases
Right.
because perhaps they want to improve their English, and at the same time you take that gap year between high school and university so that you can kind of relax a little bit, learn the language, and then go back to actual studying.
Right.
Yeah, so this is like what many people do.
Okay, so that's common.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
common. And since I had lived in the US and I could already speak English, then why not learn another language?
see.
And then China came up. Yeah.
Okay.
And
But then, as far as I see, it ended up being more than just a gap year.
yes, yes, absolutely. The plan was just 1 year of Chinese Mandarin
Right.
in Beijing. But after 3-4 months, I really enjoyed there.
Really?
I fell in love with the, coming from a small city back in Venezuela to a very international, multicultural, big city like Beijing.
Yes.
With so many opportunities, so vibrant, never sleeping. I was like, okay, I think I would like to stay here,
For a bit longer, not just a year.
exactly. So, and also I wanted to improve my Mandarin at the time as well, because I realized that I was not going to be able to learn so much in a year, like
For
to
sure.
the degree that I wanted to learn. Yeah, I
Exactly.
wanted to be very like fluent. And I had the opportunity to apply for university, and yeah, I was accepted. I had to study a lot that year and qualify for the degree. And I ended up getting like the Chinese proficiency test, which is like HSK level 5 in a year, which is like quite fast.
Is it like a language test or something?
Yeah, so this is like I would say this is the equivalent of like a B1 or 2
Okay.
German,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, maybe B2.
Okay,
Yeah,
me too.
but for
Within
the,
what? 1
within
year?
1 year, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, and then I applied for university, and then I started studying.
So you needed that requirement to apply. Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
because the degree was all in Chinese.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
That would be my next question. So you studied in Chinese.
Yes, I had to study in Chinese, do the test, everything written down in Chinese. it was challenging, but it was very
And you ended
interesting.
up living there for how long?
All in all, 13 years.
13 years in China.
13 years in Beijing.
So
That's
you
right.
lived 17 years in Venezuela.
Yes.
And then only a little bit less, 13.
Yeah.
And
Right.
arguably, you lived more of your conscious life in
Right.
Beijing because,
Exactly.
I mean, what do you know when you're like 3 or 4 years old?
Exactly. Yeah.
So maybe
right.
you lived 13 conscious years in Venezuela and 13 conscious years
You could say that. Yeah.
in Beijing.
Yeah.
And
also
what is your, you know, what is your identity, so to speak? Are you Venezuelan?
Yeah.
Are you
yeah.
Chinese?
Yeah, no, I am.
What
I'm
is closest to you?
Definitely Venezuelan, 100%. Yeah. All of my upbringing was in Venezuela, and although I really enjoy China and the culture, yeah, it's still very different than the Venezuelan. Although there are similarities in the sense of like family,
Yes.
friends, and like we're very
Yes,
united.
yes,
Yeah, family
yes.
oriented.
That's a bit less
but it's
so in
still
Europe.
an Oriental culture, and
sure.
and yeah, we're more of the West.
Yeah, that's a bit less so the case of Europe, I feel, or in the Western countries. You have a greater focus on, you know, individual path and whatever. So family is less so focus. For example, I'm half Russian, and there's also a big focus on community and family. Very, very important. Also, multi-generational living. You know, some grandma lives with you at home,
Right,
for example.
yeah.
That's a really common thing there as well. But still, I'm sure in China you had a bunch of cultural differences to deal with.
Yeah.
So how was that? Like, was it easy for you to adapt?
Uh,
What were you struggling with, or what were you not struggling with?
well, the thing is that when I arrived there, I was like we just said, I was 17. So for me, everything was new. I was
Absolutely.
living kind of like the first time living alone abroad. I had most of my friends were like in their 20 plus 30s. So I had to like I was not just dealing with like the cultural differences of China, but also like social differences.
Yeah.
And I was also kind of like new to this whole new world, and yeah,
Language
many
barrier, yes.
language barrier, trying to like polish my English at the time, because even though that I could speak English, I was still a little bit shy because I had no spoken English for a long time, since I wasn't living abroad before. So, but it was very interesting. I have to say, trying to learning how to communicate and socialize,
Right.
in this kind of context, because before I was just like hanging out with my friends, so you kind of like you're used to that. But here it's like, okay, you go to the university and you gotta meet new people from different places in the world,
Yeah.
different cultures. I have friends from Russia, from Ukraine, from Europe as well, from other Asian countries. So you're kind of like having this diversity and mixture that you need to like
At university.
accept and embrace these different differences as well. Yeah, but it was very interesting and very transformative years of my life, especially when you mentioned that.
I believe so.
Yeah, like living 17 years in Venezuela and 13 years in China. Like, yes, these 13 years that I lived in China were like very transformative. Like from 20s till 30s, like many experiences, doing the university, starting like an entrepreneurial journey there. It's an experience
really
that I will
grows you
never
up.
change. Yeah.
It really grows you up because the fact, I mean, you 17, you're still a kid. Who are you with 17?
Yeah.
You're not a full grown responsible adult, but then you kind of being thrown into the cold water. Yes, so you're going from being a kid to living on a completely different continent, adapting to a lot of new challenges at the same time. And we both know what makes you stronger and better isn't comfort; it's
Yeah.
challenges.
Right.
So there were a lot of challenges at once. So I believe that this was transformative.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the only thing that is transformative.
Yeah.
Challenges. I mean, for some people it can be too much, and you seem to have dealt with it just fine, properly, effectively.
Yeah,
look at you.
I guess like you just I don't know. I think it's a matter of just trying to get the most out of the circumstances where you find yourself in. Like the first challenge was for me to move to the other side of the world by myself. So I was alone there. I didn't have any family, so learning how to like just survive on your own.
For sure.
Yeah, this is one. Although my parents were helping out, of course, with certain kind of like with the tuition,
Oh yeah, of course.
initially with these things. But at some point when I decided to stay university, I had to also kind of like be responsible for myself
Of course.
financially.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So this is a first kind of challenge that you're like encountering. Second is like different cultures as well and language barriers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also there's like personality challenges as well because you're trying to find out who you are, especially at that age.
Exactly.
Right. And also
it's
being
not that that's
alone by yourself. Right.
that's already an age that's
Yeah.
difficult for some people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you're doing it at the most difficult phase of your life.
Yes,
in a way.
yes. But luckily, I have to say I had very good foundations from my family, my parents, and yeah, man. There's a lot of temptations in university. Of course, a lot of vices.
The usual vices of
the
university.
usual vices, and you
For
gotta
sure.
like try to deal with them the best way you can, and yeah, fortunately, I have to say that I'm very happy to have experienced it the way that I did, and to be able to come out how I am right now, and it was very transformative. So yeah,
How was it? How was it to be away from your family for such a long time? Because I believe until 17 you lived with your family. It sounds like you had a decent relationship,
yeah, absolutely,
and so then you just decided to leave and live on a completely. Again, if you move from Berlin to Munich, it's a 8 hour drive. You can visit each other all the time, even if it's Switzerland or something or Netherlands. It's still
Right.
close.
Yeah.
But here we're talking very big,
yeah,
big
absolutely.
distances.
And we're talking also like there's something that we also keep in mind that like at the time we're talking about 2011, like there were not so many like
No.
tools like nowadays, right? That you
Exactly.
can like just video call anyone like at the-
FaceTime, video call,
yeah.
and whatnots were kind of limited to other to
Yeah,
the tools you had available
yeah,
there.
yeah. And back then, like my phone was a Nokia then.
Exactly.
Yeah, I could get like a better phone, but at the time I was still in university,
Mm-hmm.
and my family had like also other financial constraints. So so we were like, I remember I was still buying those like prepaid cards for international calls.
Oh, yeah, the prepaid.
And I had to call back home. Of course, I was missing family, especially being so close. And then all of a sudden being abroad, being by myself. So yeah, this was one element. And the second is that initially I had not planned to be there for that long. The plan was just to be there for 1 year,
Yeah.
to learn Mandarin and then go
then come
back.
back.
But then, okay, one thing led to the other, and I really enjoyed it. So I decided, okay, why not apply for university? I talked with my parents; they supported me, thankfully, and I started this kind of like new path, which was now I need to qualify for university. So I zoned out into really learning Mandarin. I was like studying around 6 hours a day. I was in an intensive course.
The language.
For a year, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which was like like 30 hours a week of Mandarin, and then
Oh,
outside
goodness.
of that was me drilling Chinese in the streets, trying to practice as much as I can, and this kind of really kept me busy and kept me motivated. Then I was accepted in the university, and that kind of gave me that extra push to be like, okay, now we're committing to like 4 more years, and then eventually starting to work, and then one thing leading to another. So this is why like the time was kind of lengthening without any kind of specific planning. Yeah,
So one thing, like you went with the flow.
I went
as
with
they
the
say.
flow. I went with the flow.
But that's the
Yeah.
right thing. You
in,
don't want
in
to
a good direction.
If doors open, and a nice opportunity presents itself,
Yeah.
then you take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's very interesting, like about opportunity, right? Because like there are many opportunities in life, but it's also about like if you put in the work when the opportunity comes up,
Yes.
then you're willing to actually take it
Exactly.
because you have been putting in the work, right? But if you're someone who perhaps have not prepared yourself for a certain opportunity, the opportunity can come up, but then maybe you won't be able to grasp it because you're not ready.
Because
Yeah.
you're not ready
Yeah.
from a skill standpoint. So maybe, you know, you need to have, for example, university.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have a certain skill set. You need to have B2 and whatever in order to be able to apply in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So just the, as you said, you're not ready from a skill standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
You're missing the tools. You're missing the skills. You haven't put in the work. That's one thing. But also the vision. So you need to know what you want in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Not a completely detailed plan, but you still need to you still need to have the right goal and motivation and aim in mind. And then if you walk through life with that vision in mind, then you will see doors opening that will align with that goal.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So even if they're more abstract, even if you haven't specified every single step, if there's a door and on an abstract level it aligns with your vision, then if it's in place, then you can go there.
Yeah.
If the skills are also ready. So both have to be there in place. So that's why the question is, you studied Mandarin, you went to university, and then one thing led to another. Did you already have a certain vision at that point? Like something that you wanted to achieve in life, something you were working towards?
Yeah. So, well,
That allowed this to happen in the first place?
yeah. What do you mean by allowed this to happen? Like which
Allowed what we
specific?
just said, allowed you to see the opportunities that present itself and to walk into the open doors, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah. So absolutely. First was okay. The first goal was I want to be fluent Mandarin. Yeah, that was my
Fair enough,
first.
yes.
The first year in China. But then I was like, okay, I see a lot of opportunities like for professional development here in China, compared to, for example, Venezuela. Back
Yeah.
then, you know, we're going through like a very difficult time. With the economic situation.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, maybe I believe that if I study in China, I will be better prepared professionally for the future, right? So this was the kind of like the second, let's say, motivation or goal. So there was Chinese, and now if I am able to study
Professional
there's a professional opportunity coming up as well. I will be better prepared, and then, so I was in university. That was the second goal. Okay, finish university, and then meanwhile, the condition was with my parents. Okay, we will support you for you to stay, but you need to take care of yourself and you need to cover all of your expenses. We're just gonna take care of university.
Yeah.
So then that was kind of like, okay, now I'm on my own. And now I need to start taking care of myself.
How
as
old
well.
were you then by then?
Well, that was maybe like 19, 20.
19, okay,
Yeah.
yes.
19
Okay,
or 20,
yeah.
yeah, because that was 2 years
Still
after I arrived.
pretty
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, so 19, 20.
Most people are still kids at that point.
Well, I was like,
You
like,
weren't-
like you say, right? I was thrown into the water,
In the
right?
cold water,
You gotta
exactly.
like learn how to swim, right?
Exactly.
Or drown.
Exactly.
And that was it. You know, I definitely didn't want to go back, so I found my way. I was applying for so many different jobs, and I did many. From waiter to, you know, you name it, right?
You gotta start somewhere.
Right. Translator,
Cool.
you know, acting,
Oh, cool.
modeling, all of that, random gigs.
Yeah.
But eventually I was like, okay, I need to find something that is stable,
Exactly.
right? Because otherwise I will not know if I'm gonna be able to take care of all my things consistently. I'm like always
You
like
want some
living for
security
this.
in life, exactly. Because if you only have a job for a day, then what do you do tomorrow?
Right,
You
exactly.
know, you want to
So-
be able to survive over the course of many years.
Yes, so
Not
I
just
was
one
I
week
was
or two.
applying for like an English teacher, and yeah, I was 19, 20 at the time, and I was getting just rejected all the time. I think it was because I was looking like a kid. I mean, I don't know, that maybe I was looking too immature. I don't know, but eventually, like I couldn't land any.
Okay.
Thankfully, because one friend told me, "Hey, you've been always into sports." So
Yes.
I've been always playing sports all my life.
Right.
And she was like telling me, "Why don't you apply for this gym? There's
Yes.
an opening for coaches. Maybe you give it a try." And this is also what I really enjoy and my passion. So I was like, "Okay, let's give it a try." And I qualified.
There you
and I
go.
was like so happy and excited. But then I realized that was the next kind of goal. I was like, okay, wait, I'm already in it, the gym, and I'm coaching, but I'm coaching them the way that I learned how to train myself. But everyone is so different, and I need to learn how to like be able to coach others in the best way that each person needs for themselves.
Exactly.
So I had to like study different fitness certification, and this is where I started to like learn more in this field professionally. And this was during university part time, and yeah, man, I studied the ACE, which is American Council on Exercise, personal training, and some certifications for functional training, like the IHP, which is the Institute of Human Performance. It's also an US based academy or institute. And that's for functional training.
Right.
I did a couple of levels of them,
Cool.
and then I study for nutrition, calisthenics, and so on. And yeah, man, this is when I graduated from university. I was like already so into the industry in fitness that I decided, okay, I might as well just. I think I found what I'm really passionate about, and I would like to continue
Right.
down this road.
Right.
So I kind of got my diploma, but I never kind of went into economics and international trade. But I stayed on the fitness industry, and thank God, because I'm super happy. I will never
Yeah,
change that.
you gotta do what you love in a
Yeah.
way. That's the only sustainable way forward.
Yeah.
Because if it's really instrumental, like you just think about numbers. I wanna whatever learn business to then make money and whatnot. If it's just that, it's not gonna be sustainable. Because if you won't do it with your soul, you won't do it with
Right.
with passion. You will do it just for the sake of numbers.
Right.
Right?
100%.
But ideally, and that's why I think it's self-limiting, because you will try to save some here and there, and it's going to be of lower quality. The end result, the end product, whatever you're going to try and sell later, will be of lower quality. But if you put your heart into it, then the quality will come automatically. Like,
Yeah.
for example, in my classes, I'm also trying to do it with heart and soul. I'm trying to be the best coach possible. I'm trying to make sure that when I give a class, that it is a class that I would also enjoy. That's that's the only thing I can think of, right? You can ideally imagine what would the class look like, so that you yourself would go there and enjoy being there. That's the best thing you can come up with. And so I'm trying to do that, and people seem to enjoy that sort of thing. And the more you love what you do, the better you're able to do that, and then you will attract people automatically.
Yeah.
That will
yeah.
happen as a consequence. So I think that's the best way forward. You just got to find what you love and pursue that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
and on top of that is that if you end up doing something just for the sake of money, or for status,
Yes.
or for any other kind of like external source, then you're gonna be living a miserable
Exactly.
life, because you're not in synchrony with who you are. Perhaps
Exactly.
you're doing something just for something external and not for the internal reasons and motivation, like what you mentioned, right? Which was
That's a
the
good
passion.
one. Because then for many years, for decades, you just have to do what you hate. Perhaps maybe you hate what you're doing.
Yeah.
But the money is good. So, but then you keep doing what you hate. Is
You
that
have
a life you want to
you
live?
don't like your environment, you don't like maybe your boss or your
Exactly.
colleagues, or you don't like what you're doing, you're like working crazy hours, and
I can give you an example. Doctors. I'm studying medicine.
Okay.
I want to become a doctor. Okay, that's one of my passions. That's my goal. I'm trying to combine exercise with medicine somehow, because I believe it's the same thing. By the way,
Yeah,
I believe there's no medicine without exercise.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's missing in medical school a lot, but that's a different conversation. Just there are two general pathways. You can either work in a hospital, or you can have a private practice. Of course, as a medical doctor, you can also go into science. You can do things
Research,
online. You can do research. You can do a lot of things like that. But when it comes to practicing as a physician, seeing patients, there are two ways of doing that. You can also do online consultations, of course, but in person. Now we're boiling it down to in-person patient conversations. You can have it in a hospital, or you can have a private practice.
Yeah.
For example, it's less common to have private practices in the US, It's really common to have private practices in Germany, Europe, Switzerland, whatever. Now, the thing is, you can have a great career working in a hospital. You can become the main doctor, whatever, the leading physician, have a great career and earn a shit ton of money. But then you have to ask, I ask myself this question. Is it worth it from a time investment standpoint? Do I really want to sacrifice everything for the career? Family time, hobbies, interests.
Sometimes even your health, huh? Because
Health.
I've seen some doctors are like sleep deprived.
Sleep deprived,
yeah.
burnout,
Yeah.
over very high suicide rate compared to other
Yeah.
professions, and doctors, even psychiatrists, funnily enough.
Wow.
Quite high suicide rate.
Imagine.
Anesthesiologists for some reason as well. I don't know. Anyway, doctors have a higher than average suicide rate. So psychologically, they're unwell. And then the environment. So honestly, I like going barefoot, being in nature, things like that. And there it's all sterile, white, clean, it's artificial light. It's really not that type of environment I would like to work in for 8 or 10 hours a day every single day. So I'm asking myself, do I need that? Do I want to work in that? Would it make me happy to work in such an environment? Work with people that like working in such an environment, that have maybe a different philosophy, a different philosophy when it comes to treating patients, because I have a slightly different approach of how I approach or think about disease, because my question is always, how can I treat the cause and get rid of the underlying cause and help the body to regenerate itself? How can I activate the self-healing mechanism, so to speak, that we do possess?
Right.
We're not a mechanical machine, we're biological machines.
Absolutely.
So we have mechanisms to regenerate ourselves, which is what differentiates us from a car, for example.
Right.
But again, different topic. And so would I like to work in that sort of environment? Even if it were to allow me to climb up the career ladder and achieve something great when it comes to career and money? And the answer is no.
I see. Yeah.
That's an example. So do you want to sell your soul, for example, if you will?
Yeah.
Sell your soul for money. Do you want to do that? You sure you want to do that for decades? I think the answer is no.
Yeah.
Should be no. If you think
and
about it.
That's good. But the only way to answer that question is to know yourself.
Yes.
Right. And then it sounds to me that you definitely know yourself, and you're really in line with what you value in life and the things that you want to pursue. And if you close your eyes and you ask yourself, and the answer is no, then
no to a hospital. So I still want to be a doctor, but to that path. That path.
Yeah.
But the only alternative for me is practice. So I do want to have a practice where I can decide on my own how the environment looks like. How I'm going to approach patient treatment. Like, it's on me. It's not someone else telling me.
Right.
Of course, as doctors, you're restrained and constrained in some manner, but still it's less compared to, if you work for the hospital. If you're your own chef, if you're your own not chef is cook.
Boss,
if you're your own boss, then you decide what's the best way to treat a patient. And as a doctor in Europe or in Germany, you have a bit more freedom than compared to being a doctor in the US, for example, because in the US they have to follow guidelines more stringently. It's a bit more stringent, whereas here you can deviate from guidelines and recommendations if there's if it's a good reason, for example. And if you're not if the patient is if you're doing private if private services, then it's up to you anyway. So it just offers me more freedoms to do what I believe to be true, what aligns with my values. And that's why the only possible pathway for me is having a practice as a future doctor, just to give you an example. And so you also seem to have done the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I follow my passion, and
yes. That's good for you.
I think one thing led to the other. I started working as a coach in the gym, back to the story, and I started studying different fitness certifications, and then the gym went bankrupt, and we were all left like the boss ran away with the money, the salaries, and we're like, okay, now what, right?
Now what?
And then I'm like, okay, well, there are two lessons I learned. Is like, one, like, even if you have good relationship with your boss, like at the end of the day, you gotta take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Right? This I was helping this person to work things out with the gym and the situation where we were in, and then eventually he just disappeared. So I worked for free for 3 months, and then ended up with no salary and
Yeah.
like, yeah. But basically this taught me to, okay, well, I need to take care of myself and be independent. And I took like my clients, I started doing freelance coaching,
Right.
and little by little I got more and more organized until the point that I built a community. Was very lucky, I had like many members joining. And then from there I went on to open a fitness studio in Beijing, China, and that's running till now.
Still
Thankfully,
running.
yeah.
Are the
Up and
clients
running.
missing you?
Well,
Where's Angelo? When is he coming
I
back?
guess some of them, but I'm very fortunate to have a great team in Beijing, and they're taking care. And this is why the community and our company Active Forever is still being able to
Wow.
to run there. So yeah.
How hard is it, or how easy is it to manage and run a gym being here in China?
Well, the thing is that, like I say, I'm very fortunate to have a very good team.
Yeah. That's good.
Very responsible.
That's good.
And dedicated, and I trust them 100%. So, from my experience, I have to say, not very hard, because
Wow.
we have our roles defined, and I do my part, which I can do remotely with my computer, and then we have meetings regularly, and
Yeah.
I try to help them in any way I can, and they are the ones who are physically there in the ground, hustling and taking care of the community and taking our vision into reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's impressive, because the best possible manager is the one that has to do the least amount of work, in a way,
Well-
that is able to manage his staff so well that they know what to do. That you don't have to be running around all the time telling everyone what they should do. That's what I mean.
Well, I guess two things. So first is that there's still a lot of work
Well,
involved.
absolutely, of course. It's not that you don't have to do anything.
And also, it's important to know, I think, is the difference between a control freak and someone who trusts their team,
Yeah.
right? So control freaks, they are the ones who are micromanaging, just making sure everything is done the way that they picture it in their mind. Yeah?
Precisely the way you want
Exactly.
it to be.
But from my side, I trust my team.
Yeah.
And we focus is on the outcome. Now, how you get there is up to you. And because they are capable, and because they are responsible, and they have, they've been doing that consistently, then I just trust them.
But that means you
with
did an
that.
excellent job finding team members that understand the vision and are willing to work towards that vision, right?
Yeah, I think part of it is also good luck, man. I think so. There's different elements, of course. Like, I mean, not just pure luck.
Exactly.
Because you also gotta you know the person, right? You can sense the person.
Exactly.
And then by interacting with them and getting to know them, you also know, are they
into it?
Yeah, are they into it? But also, are they responsible?
Exactly.
You can tell by with little experience and interactions, you can kind of start to screen that out. You see, if, is the person someone who is educated? Is the person who has good social skills? Is all of this you start to get to know. So this is one, but also is good luck to be able to come up and come across this person in life.
That's true.
Right? So
That's
this
true.
is also kind of faith, and I think it's part of both. So yes, I kind of judge who am I willing to kind of pass the baton, so to say, into the manager, and who take care of it. This is something that I studied, and I kind of like, I not study, but I kind of ponder and consider. And then the second is that to be able to meet this person, Jan, our manager there, that was also part of luck. Well, that was faith, because we happened to meet like outside,
Sure.
in a social context. It was not like,
I agree. On the other hand, I need to say, you meet a lot of people. I'm sure you talk to a lot of people on the street.
Yeah.
But to figure out who is who of those, all the people you meet, is able and capable to take on that job is a completely different thing. Like, you could meet him, talk to him, let him go.
Yeah.
That could also have happened.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen, right? So it's kind of kudos to you for making those people stick.
Yeah, I guess this is where it comes into the element of sharing similar values.
True.
And
Yes.
perspective in life.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's how you also kind of like connect with people, right? There's a reason why we're both sitting here, and it's because we also share similar values, similar
we
like
do.
perspective, and then
True.
that's why we are, both into sports, and the things that we're sharing are also kind of in line. And the same way with the people that you work, you want to be able to find people that are in line with the organization or the company's vision and mission.
So the gym is going well in China.
Yeah, I have to say it's going pretty well. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I mean, I'm very happy to how things have turned out, and there's always room for improvement. So,
course.
and there are always challenges as well. So I cannot say that everything has been kind of like pretty smooth, but overall,
is.
yeah, overall,
And honestly,
we're very happy.
you also don't want it to be super smooth.
Yeah, because then we
Because
go back to the challenges, right?
where's
Like,
the challenge?
are we growing or not?
Where's the
right?
adventure?
Absolutely.
There's no adventure. If everything goes, imagine if everything goes exactly according to plan, and everything is smooth. There is no challenge. There is no excitement. Where's the adventure?
Right.
Where's
absolutely.
the fun?
Yeah.
Where's the excitement? Like Hyrox.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Imagine it'd be 10 kilos on the
easy
sled.
breeze. Yeah.
What's that? What's that about? Nothing.
There is no that.
So you want to have some.
Yeah.
You know Jordan Peterson?
Yeah.
He likes to say we're not built for comfort, we're built for adventure. He thinks we're built for maximal adventure. Just people don't know. Some people don't realize that. They think we want to have more comfort, but I also believe that that's not the case, because you find yourself being most present and most excited, and you said your life in China was transformative, despite it probably being a challenging time. You already mentioned some challenges, like adapting the adaptation phase, learning new language, then ending up with no job after having worked as a trainer for some time, then starting this fitness studio business.
The challenges that this
Challenge after challenge.
Yeah.
But still you say this was the transformative time. This was
absolutely.
the best time, so to speak.
Absolutely. And
then the question is, was it despite the challenges or because of all those hurdles? Because of all those challenges? And I think it's the latter.
Yeah, absolutely. Say, for example, there was also another, you're talking about challenges. We haven't touched that experience of mine, but it just came to mind. I also broke an ankle in China.
That's the photo you showed me.
Yeah, and then
That's a brutal one.
I didn't have the money to pay the whole medical bill because my insurance had expired like 1 month before. And I mean, long story short, I was very fortunate that the university where that was back when I was in university, and university's insurer decided to like take over the cost. And this was also because we started like a fundraising initiative, and many people started to help out.
Okay.
So the university kind of like the impact was of such a magnitude that the university decided to intervene. And yeah, man, very grateful for that. But from the other side, I had to overcome this challenge, which was I had undergone 3 surgeries. I had to relearn how to walk again. I was 1 year on crutches.
Right.
My right leg atrophied. Being able to get back to fitness as well. So this was very transformative, especially mentally.
There you go again.
Right. So then
A broken ankle is transformative.
Yeah. And
It teaches you a lot of things.
100%. And this is what I think it has shaped my philosophy and the way that I perceive life, and challenges. I think like we have mentioned a couple times, challenges are there to help you to learn something and grow.
Exactly.
And this is what I did from this experience. and that's also what really pushed me and really allowed me to be aware that I wanted to do fitness.
Yes.
I pursue fitness as a career. Yeah, the the determination that I had to go that I had, yeah, that I have to absorb when I was recovering from my injury and starting to train as well, like on a chair because I couldn't walk, with resistance bands and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But this discipline and this like uh, confidence that you're building
Yes.
helped me to be pretty clear that this is what I wanted to pursue and this is what I wanted to share with others and help them to to realize that they can also do these things and that everyone has kind of like this inner light that allows you to kind of push through and become
you just
whoever
have to
you want.
cultivate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Everyone has that inner light,
Yeah.
but you know, for some people, especially in today's world where, not everyone is as resilient. There are not so many challenges as there were 200 years ago. I think 200 years ago, everyone was a bit more resilient than we are today.
Yeah, yeah,
So we have to
absolutely.
seek these challenges. Nowadays, we have to seek the challenge. There is a reason why people, voluntarily sign up for things like survival camp or something like that. Back in the day, that was just a normal day.
That was, yeah,
That was your life.
That was the average.
That was the average. Yeah. So you had to deal with how to make fire, how to get food, how to get water. That was the usual challenges, everyday life. Today, just have a grocery shop, you have a roof above your head, you have a kitchen, you have water, you have everything. We're so lucky to have everything that we have. Obviously, it's a luxury, but also it makes us less resilient. Because as soon as we encounter a little problem, we're kind of like, what should we do?
Yeah, breaking apart.
Yeah. And every single challenge, again, that's why challenges are so important. They grow your confidence. They grow your confidence in your abilities, to overcome challenges. Because that's like a general category.
Yeah.
Are you a person who can overcome challenges? You don't know. But each time you do overcome a challenge, it's like a piece of evidence.
Yeah.
There's evidence. There's more evidence. And then you grow that evidence. And then now, you, being the Angelo you are today, if you encounter a big challenge tomorrow, you will know, I did so many, I overcome this list of challenges in the past. I can do that thing too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why it's helpful.
Yeah, it definitely helps to build the confidence as well. Yeah, and then with confidence also you gotta develop competence, right? So there's kind of like this ratio, right? Like confidence and competence, and yeah, that way you can also kind of like be able to step up for the challenges, right? Because if you're like very confident but you're stepping into something that you've never kind of like prepared yourself for, then you will learn a lot from it. Yeah.
But that's also what the challenges help to do, because they build your skill sets, right? Like learning Mandarin was a challenge, but you developed a whole new skill set. Yeah. Same as being a trainer. You develop all kinds of things by being a coach. You learn to speak properly. You learn to motivate people. You learn to understand that everyone's different, and there's not one size fits all approach. There are different approaches, which is like in the beginning we all think, this one approach works for everyone, and then you're like, oh, maybe no, it doesn't.
There's no cookie cutter.
No, there isn't. There you go. Anyway, so I think we don't have too much time left. I want to, we have to do part 2 and 3. I'm
happy.
I already know, because we're just talking about China. But it's still interesting because I don't know too many people who lived in China.
Okay.
I have it's you, and then I have another good friend who spent a month there.
Okay.
That's all. Yep. I don't know anybody else who lived in China or who is from China.
Yeah.
So to me, it's interesting. What do you think about the country? You know why? Or the city? Because obviously China there's a lot of things being said about China.
Yeah.
It's the devil, it's the Communist Party, and it's falling apart, totalitarian society, whatnot. So usually China, in my opinion, is being portrayed in a pretty negative light in Western media. And you lived there for 13 years. What can you say?
Well,
so this is getting a little bit political, but I still want to get your take, because you met the people, you know how it looks there, obviously, and you left a bit more than a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
So not too long ago. It's not that you left 15 years ago and a lot of things have changed.
Right.
So what can you say? And clearly the fact that you stayed there for 13 years means there is something about that you did
Yeah,
like.
no, I loved it. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is I love China. Yeah, it was my home for almost half of my life. I learned so many things there. There were so many opportunities that made me who I am today, and so yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind. I don't have anything
Fair.
negative to say from China. China gets a lot of, like media nowadays. There's a lot of like different media portrays the image that they want to portray of certain um, countries or
Yes,
personas based on how they want to influence people.
absolutely.
Yeah, what I can say
The
from
propaganda is everything.
yeah, exactly.
Of course,
So
it's also here.
what I can say from my personal experience is that things work there. I did my career there, my university, and I was able to meet with hundreds of uh, very, uh, yeah, amazing individuals that in one way or another impacted me.
Yes.
Um, it's very modern. Things are changing very rapidly. China is also very, willing to adapt and implement new
Strategies.
yeah, for their economic or technological or social growth. And yeah, man, it seems to me that it's working pretty well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what do I have to say to conclude on the note is like I always share with everyone that I meet is go and check it out for yourself,
Check it out for yourself,
so
yes.
that you know what it is. And it's a place with very with like tons of history,
Absolutely.
very unique as well. It has a lot of influence in many things around the world. So the
Yes.
best thing is like take a month if you can, get it inside China, travel around, see the people. They're great hosts. They're very welcoming, and you will have
You have a good time.
yeah, you will have a good time.
Yeah, that's
Good
what my friend
experience.
also told me. And you're being told so many bad things about China that in the beginning, like I got more comfortable with that idea because it's already him told me, now you telling me. But in the beginning, what's kind of hard to be like,
Yeah, people are biased.
yes, because you're being told so many different things, but then some things aren't exactly the way it's being portrayed, and oftentimes you're only being shown one part of the truth. Maybe part of it is true, but then what about all the good things that are being left out? For example, one thing he said, it's remarkably clean. It's remarkably clean. I think he was also in Beijing, and he said it's very, very clean. It's nothing compared to Berlin, for example, even though I thought Berlin is clean.
Yeah,
And then there are no homeless people, he said. There are no homeless people. They make do a good job preserving the culture, which arguably, not Europe as a whole, but some countries they do worse. They do much worse in today's world, because if you move towards more and more of a globalist society, then an individual country becomes less important. So preserving your own culture is more difficult.
right.
So and the reason it was easier for me to get behind it is because I have a similar experience with Russia, because also being portrayed as a terrible country, especially in today's day and age. But always, and I think there is a political reason, which is countries have different interests,
Right.
and the interest of the West doesn't necessarily align with the interests of the Eastern countries, like Russia and China. They have different interests. And so that's why, obviously, they're trying to, preserve their own interests. So that makes sense from a political standpoint. I have a hard time being half German and half Russian. So I'm like, where am I? I want both countries to be well off. I want that Germany is well off. I want that Russia has a good time. So I'm always trying to figure out what I want exactly.
Yeah.
But it's the same. I've been to Russia many times. Now, unfortunately, because I have Russian citizenship, so I can't. I'm a bit afraid of going there because I'm I can be pulled into the military, which I don't really want. So my wife was there. Yasmin was there for 1 month as an internship in a hospital, and she also told me almost only positive things about her
Yeah, it's
experience.
completely different to what
Completely
maybe
different
people,
what you see in the media most of the
Yeah.
time, because they're showing one part, but they don't show the just day-to-day life of how the people are. They're also extremely hospitable, by the way.
Yeah.
Russians are extremely hospitable. How hospitable they are, the how everything looks there, and the culture. That's a completely different thing. And so just go there and check it out for yourself.
100%, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you left after 13 years. Why?
Because, put simply, the plan was just to go there and learn Mandarin for a year, and it turned out 13 years. So after some point, I was like, okay, the plan was never to relocate and base myself in China for the rest of my life. So after 13
Fair.
years and almost half of my life,
Yeah.
I decided, okay, maybe it is time to close the chapter for now and go closer to my family. This was a reflection that I also had during COVID, and I decided to, be closer. And my sister, she's been living here in Berlin for 8 years.
Oh, okay.
And my parents, they travel often here.
Okay.
So that we can all be together.
Yeah, that's nice.
And the only one who's missing is my brother, who is in Vietnam. But
Ah.
he comes sometimes. And yeah, man, I am happy in exploring a new life here in the the West. Yeah.
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 New chapter in Berlin.
Yeah,
And is the
absolutely.
plan to eventually go back to your family in Venezuela? Or do you want them to come here?
Well,
like because in the beginning you mentioned it's common to do a gap year, whatever, and then come back.
Yeah.
Eventually to your home country, and that seemed to have been your plan in the beginning as well. And now you're saying yourself you want to be closer to the family, but you're in Germany, you're not in Venezuela. So is
Right.
the plan to eventually get even closer to them back home, or have them?
Yeah,
live
that's a
with
really
you
good
here?
question. So the thing is that,
Have you thought about that?
yeah, absolutely. Like here in Germany, I'm closer because it's just like compared to China, which was like 33 plus hours flight just to
Yeah.
get back home. Here is like not even half.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just say it's half for the sake of like comparison. But so I am much closer that I can visit my parents back home, but then it's also convenient for them to come here.
Yes.
And on top of that, my sister lives here, so now I also have family in the place where I'm living, which I spend time with them like at least 1 or twice per week. We meet for dinners and we spend some time. Like I did the high
Your
rocks.
sister.
Yes, with my sister.
Okay.
I did the high rocks with my brother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that was on Saturday.
Oh, that's
and then
cool.
on Sunday, the next day, we were back again in the Temple Hoffield, like supporting my sister who was doing the
Yeah.
high rock. So the whole weekend was family time and adventure with the race. Right?
Sure.
Yeah, and then like I say, I can always go back to Venezuela from here to visit, and I'm much more closer. Whereas based in China, I will have to plan so much more,
Sure.
right? And with all the logistics of like, okay, I'm gonna absent myself for like a month, right? Because it doesn't make sense living in China to go back to Venezuela and be there for like 1 week or 2 weeks, right? But here it's much more convenient. I can just go there for 2 weeks and come back. Yeah. So yeah.
But
Or
again,
we can find a middle ground
Yeah.
as well.
but again, it's the plan to stay here now for some time.
For now, yes, I'm looking at for the near
future.
future. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm
okay.
happy here, and I am very I think after living in China and alone for so
Yeah.
long, you kind of like you're very adaptable. And
Yeah.
that's the same spirit and mindset that I'm taking being here. I enjoy it. Berlin is also very vibrant, very diverse. There are always things going on. Also,
true.
Berlin is also very active in the fitness realm, which is what we are like very immersed into. Yeah, so there's nothing I can complain, man. And I like to focus on the positive things as well. So
That's-
even if there are like certain negative things, I don't pay attention to that. and I'm happy, man.
Let me ask you one last thing. Where would you consider your home to be? Because if you say you're adaptable, that means you can always adapt to wherever you are, which is a really good quality, which is a really good skill to have, because that means you won't be overwhelmed so easily. But on the other hand, you know, is there still a place you're attached to? Is it still, do you still, when you say I'm back home, is it wherever you are at the moment?
Yeah,
Is
that's
it
a
when
good
you travel
question.
to China? Is it when you travel to visit your family?
I think there's a saying which I embrace completely, which is home is where your heart is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's right now. This is home for me. Yeah, 3 years ago, China was home for me. 13 years ago, 16 years ago, Venezuela was home for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so home is where your heart is. I'm happy here. I am doing what I love, right, professionally. I am striving to grow personal as well. I'm doing sports, all of the healthy habits that I like uh, to 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 have in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
I can have them anywhere.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm surrounded with like loving people. So yeah, right now, if you ask me where's home for you, well, right now home
Right now
is
it's here.
Berlin. Yeah,
Good.
thank you, man.
We do need to do a part two. That was your life story.
Absolutely.
Short. We could dive even deeper,
Yes,
but
yes.
unfortunately, I think you have to go, and I also have to go. So we'll do a part two, diving more into health and fitness, because we haven't really touched on that much.
Totally. I will be very keen.
Because you see,
on
there is
doing-
so much to talk about.
Yes.
Someone who lived in China for 13 years and had such a dynamic life, you know, with ups and downs, and with traveling here, traveling there. That was
Yeah,
interesting.
I'm more than happy to do it again, man.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do it again, and then we'll have a nice workout.
Thank you, Max. Appreciate it. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me.
Tell us real quick where we can find you, where we can follow you, and things like that.
Yeah, very easy. On Instagram, you can find me as Angelo Thrives.
He thrives.
Always positive and trying to get the most out of life, man.
Perfect.
So yeah, Angelo Thrives.
And everything else is on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like
you can
links
find me
and
there.
whatnot, all the links are there.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Max. Appreciate it.
All right.